Stop Working Broke podcast, hosted by Chad Murray. If the anxiety never shuts off, you're buried in jobs, chasing checks, and your phone goes quiet the second you stop pushing, you're not alone. Here, you'll get real clarity and straight advice to calm the chaos, fix the systems, tighten your team, and create steady leads. Because freedom starts when the anxiety stops running the business. Let's get going. All right. Thank you for coming to Stop Working Broke podcast. I am, as introduced, Chad Murray. It's 10:30 at night. Your wife's asleep. You're staring at your phone. Payroll hits Friday. You underbid 3 jobs this week. Your top tech is acting like he owns the place. You can't raise your prices because what if it leads to slowdown? You don't feel like you're winning. You feel behind. You feel like newer companies are passing you by. You have no one really to talk to that understands what's going on. Guess what? You own a business. And the fact of the matter is, you don't have to live like that. The pain, a lot of time, is coming from you don't have a plan. Like fear of not being enough, raising your prices. What if I can't sell? You have all these fears that are happening to you. Fear of losing control, afraid to train someone else to sell, afraid to systemize because chaos feels familiar. Fear of being exposed. You've been doing this wrong for 10 years. All that, this is what a business owner goes through. And when you finally realize, and it doesn't matter at what stage, when you realize this is the time to find the answers, to change, it's the hardest thing for you to do as a business owner is accept that you have to do things differently. I always tell people when they start working with me, the people that got you here today are not going to be people who get you to the next step and probably the next step and probably the next step. And that's so hard because we love the people that got us here. And then a lot of times those people just don't have the capacity. So that's one thing that you're hard with doing. You should let someone go. You just don't. So you keep living in that turmoil, really that hell of I can't live without this guy or this woman is my whole business. The fact is they're not. They might do some great things at one time and now they're holding you back. You're a business owner and you need to realize the next level is you making something happen. Action. And everyone sits back and is afraid of action. Afraid of something new, afraid of failure. Well, the fact of the matter is that old saying, failing forward, is exactly what you need to start doing. Not afraid to fail because what if it works? And guess what? If it doesn't work, you pivot and you make it work. And if you have to pivot 5 times, so what? Everybody's always afraid to lose money. I'm going to lose money. Well, guess what? You're already losing money or you're not making the money you want. So what's the difference? Take those 2 pairs of dice, put them in your hand and roll them. You've got to have a little bit of a cowboy in you now. You own a business. Come on, cowboy, cowgirls out there. Get on that horse. Take the fork in the road. Take the road you don't want to take because that's the harder road. I had a post the other day, the Kennedy quote. We're going to do things. We want to do things that are hard, not because they're easy, because they're hard. I'm terrible. Terrible at impressions, but they're hard. And that's the thing. As a business owner, you got to do the hard things because guess what? There's a promised land to doing the hard thing now. It makes your life easy. It will work. It will work. I know. I've been there. I've been bankrupt. I've had my entire sales team. I fired them instead of quit, or I forced them in, or tricked them into quitting. If you read my book, I had no salespeople running a $3.5 million company. None. Had to come out of retirement, go back and build up a sales team again. I've had I've had IRS audits. I've had I've sold the company. I've just so many. I mean, just bad things have happened. I mean, not the sell wasn't a bad thing, but I'm just saying there are so many things that have happened to me that guess what? I got up. I looked it in the face. I stared that beast right down, and I took that road that was hard, and I made it better. And then something else would happen, and guess what? You own a business. It's not gonna be all roses, everything, even when you get there, but you're gonna get it to where it's much more manageable, better, but you gotta do the hard things. You gotta find the right people. What are the 5 fixes that'll change everything? I'll tell you right now. Strategically raising your prices. Now, not the across the board thing. That doesn't work. I mean, you maybe you should, but you should up your prices like maybe even 30 to 40% on some main things. That sounds crazy, right? Well, my competition doesn't do that. Well, I bet you they do. I bet you the number one in your niche guy sells that same product you sell for 30 to 50% more than you do. And you talk him down. That guy's scamming people. That guy's a crooked. Yet that guy's got a 5 to 10, 15, $20 million company. And you're and you don't even know how to get payroll sometimes done. See what I'm saying? You have to change your outlook on what is the value of your prices to get it right, which leads to the number 2 fix. You got to fix your sales process. Sales process. You got to build out a quoting system, a rapport system, a follow-up system, a pre-sale before you get their system. So this stuff you have to work on. And no matter what system, if you're listening to this, I promise you, your sales system sucks compared to mine, compared to anyone who's doing $3 to $10 million or more. And you know what? Even mine needs refining. Even the $15 million guys needs refining. It's always needs. It's a work in progress. It's a living document. It's a living thing. Your sales process has got to change with the times. How you sold in 2021 when everybody was buying, it was easy. And how you sell in 2026 is 2 different animals. And you better adjust. You better adjust. Because if you don't, your sales process is going to be outdated. And that's probably half the reason what it is. So, you got to set the expectations for that price. You got to explain the process, show the problems, handle the objections. You got to follow up aggressively. Everything with that sales process has to be upgraded. It just has to be. I mean, and if you're just sitting there listening to me go, oh, I'll do it someday. Yeah, that is what the hardest thing for a business owner that is stuck and not moving up forward is because you procrastinate. It's always going to be tomorrow, and then you get into the banker hours thing. There's another thing, a lot of business owners who are not killing it and crushing it or making it is you start working banking hours. You got complacent with what everything's doing. You're used to the chaos, but you're not going to work any extra. Guess what? You own a business. You don't own a bank. And so you've got to work extra. And I'm not saying go miss the kids' sporting events, but you know what? You might want to stay up a little extra and work on your sales process, work on your pricing, work on Saturday. I don't work Saturdays. Well, what are you, too good to make money and too good to make things better? I'm not asking you to work every Saturday. I'm asking you right now for an upgrade your business, upgrade your life. You are your business and that is your life. Right? So that's fix number 2. So number 1, I'm going to go over number 1. Again, raise your prices strategically. Fix your sales process. Number 3 fix. Stop making emotional decisions. Everything has to be tracked. Your whole decision should be tracked to where a number backs up a decision. So I'll tell you the perfect reason for that, or an example. People will ask me, "Well, should I hire?" Well, I don't know. Let's look at the numbers. What? What price should I raise? Let's go back to step 2. What price should I raise? Higher. Oh, I don't know. Let's look at the numbers. So then you get to the point of, well, I don't know my numbers. And you probably don't know your numbers. Not like you should. So you got to start knowing your numbers. So that means you have got to sit down and write this down. I mean, promise me you'll write this down right now. You need to know what your sales is, your production numbers are, your closing rates. And if you know that, right there, those 3 numbers alone, let me explain the difference. None of this has to do with your deposits or money. None of it. Sales is what got approved this week. It could have been a sale, an estimate that you did a year ago, but it got approved this week. That's part of your sales number. Anything you went out and sold that got approved this week is your this week's sales number. So at the end of the week, what got approved? That's your sales number. You got to track that. And then you have production. Production is not what you deposited, what work got done that will bring a deposit. So what work got done? That and you put a number to that. So what all work got done, whether you collect it or not, because you may do a commercial job, or you might even do a job that's split this week to next week. So like if it's a split job, you got to take what you did this week and add it to your production number this week, and take the number that was done left and put that on next week, because you got to know how much production you're doing. Okay. And then you got to know your closing rate. Once you know those 3 numbers, that's all I'm going to tell you today. There's a lot more numbers to know, but you have to do this every week. If you're not doing this every week, you're managing your business in the dark. In the dark. So Saturday morning, Friday night, I don't care when, maybe Monday morning early, I don't care when, you need to know last week's numbers and this week's numbers. So, like, how much production do I have up? Like, you can't do sales for next week, but you damn sure can put and track how much production you have up, so you know the holes and the leaky bucket holes. You might have a full schedule. I'll tell you how to make money right now. Right now, watch this. Your schedule's full, and then when you actually add up how much production money you have, you find out you're losing money. You're not even scheduling enough money to make it. I bet you that's happened to 80% of the clients I have. And we're just talking tweaks. Some guy, maybe your number one guy's going out and doing like maybe some stupid follow-ups or something that has nothing to do with revenue. So you switch someone else to do that, and then all of a sudden he's making revenue. There's lots of ways to fix that. But here's the thing. You don't know, because you don't know the numbers. And then when you start tracking your production, you start seeing how you make more money. It is very important to know your numbers. And you're going to hear that all the time. But I'm giving you the 3 numbers: sales, production, and closing rate. You need to know that. Then we add on, what's your gross margin? And we start adding on what is each individual's guy's sales and what's his sales per opportunity. And you start adding numbers up. So eventually, you can have, by the way, you can have if you have a call center girl or someone answering the phones for you, come on, they're not sitting there on the phone all day. And if they are, you need to hire someone else. So they have some time to do some other stuff. Have them do your numbers Friday, the last hour and a half of their day, when the phone's probably not ringing between 3 and 5 on Friday. Have them do your numbers for you. And so if your wife is your bookkeeper or your person helping you, have her do the numbers on Friday. Simple. Or Monday morning, first thing, get to know your numbers last week. And so it's very important. Okay. So let's go back through this. I'm going to say it again. Fix it number 1, strategically raise your prices. Fix it number 2. Fix it number 1. Yes, is raise your prices. Fix it number 2 is your sales process. Fix it number 3 is don't make emotional decisions. Know your numbers so you can make a good decision. One that's going to help you make more money. All right. What's number 4? Fire the one person you know you should fire. Oh, I'm getting right to it. Getting right at you now. If you know you need to fire them, get rid of them. I don't care how much it hurts you. Get that culture going. Get everybody. They got you handcuffed. Get rid of them. Watch every employee thank you within hours. I know because I've done it. I have fired finally, and believe me, I have procrastinated at times on firing. Most of the time, I'm good at it. But the few times that I did procrastinate, I got a call or a text or something from several people in the company. Thank you. Thank you. And really, 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 if you're sitting there at night and you hate this person, and I don't know you don't hate anybody, but I mean, you just hate it, this anger, this anxiety, because this person is just making your life hell. Why? Why are you putting up with it? Why? Really? You hired someone to give you shit all day? Someone who's not doing their job? Come on. You have control. You own the company. You're a business owner. You choose your world. Choose the world that you want to live in, not the world that you you didn't build hell, you want to build heaven, right? Come on. Build what you want to be proud of. And having a bad employee is just sucking the whole company out of its whole culture, and it's chaos, and it's not worth a dime into it. Get rid of them. Literally fire them tomorrow. And if you're listening to this in the morning, fire them today. I promise you, you'll thank me. You don't need them. You'll figure it out. You're a business owner. All right. I actually want to elaborate more on that. I thought I was done, but I'm not. You know why? I have had a couple people that I've either tricked into firing or I finally terminated. And I will tell you, I had a guy, he was bipolar. I liked this guy. So this is what happens. You like this person in the beginning, so you feel like you get to know them, right? Well, then something happens, and we don't know what. What? I mean, I don't know what spell goes over these people, or they love you, they trust you, they do so good in the beginning, and you're like, God, this guy's awesome. And then one day, there's a red flag. They say something off, like what? They do something, what? And you all of a sudden know in your gut something just changed. You know it. You feel it. I had a guy. Didn't he was a MMA fighter, super awesome. Actually, not MMA, jiu-jitsu. He was super good, winning tournaments left and right. I mean, the guy was in shape, pretty good sales guy. And then one day out of the blue, he texts me up some weird, like criticizing me. And I'm like, I was actually at the cabin hunting with friends. And I ended up calling this guy, and this guy goes off on me like I had never heard. He had never said one bad word to me ever. And he'd worked for me about a year. And all of a sudden, I'm talking to a gentleman who has a voice that I recognize, but I did not know this person on the phone. And my initial instinct was to fight back because it was so in my face, loud and vulgar that he was talking to me, that I handled it wrong. I should have just listened and then said, okay, take the day off, go home, and we'll talk about this tomorrow. But I didn't. I got kind of heated with the guy, and then finally got off the phone and told him, listen, you're off for the day. Did tell him that and said, do not call me back. That was like a Friday, so I'll see you Monday type of thing. And do not call me back. And that guy ended up text messaging me just random stuff for about an hour to 2 hours. And finally I said, you're either terminated or shut up and leave me alone until Monday. And he shut up. And then Monday we worked it out. Then the guy that I knew showed up to work. And then glimpses of that kept happening until finally it was normal for me to deal with this guy, which was a big strain on us. And he wasn't my best guy ever working for. He was above average, but not like he was a B plus player, not even an A minus. He was a B plus. Like, okay. So I dealt with that for probably another 6 months. And I am telling you, it was weighing on me. I was losing sleep. I was getting upset. He was living rent free in my mind. So finally one day he blows up And this one wasn't even, it just piled on me enough. And finally, I just said, you're terminated. I'm not going to deal with this anymore. Goodbye. I had 5 employees text me that day. Thank you. That guy has, and no one had told me how much of a jerk he was when he called in orders and questions and always complaining about his schedule, just all this stuff. Like he was their pet peeve project that they had to deal with like every day, several times a day, just all that kind of stuff, which they never told me. I didn't even know. And then when I let him go, they're all like, the call center especially was because that's who mainly dealt with him. Like I got a message from all of them. Thank God blank is gone. So I know what you're feeling. And by the way, I had to replace that dude, and unfortunately, it did cost me a little bit of money to get someone up to speed and blah blah blah. So it is, I understand there is a financial, uh, stake at when you do let somebody go. But the fact of the matter is, I had that guy replaced in 2 to 3 weeks, maybe 6 weeks. And matter of fact, the guy that I replaced him was a killer dude for about 4 or 5 years for me, and he's moved on since. But he moved on in a good way. Didn't leave as a jerk, and I gave him a reference. So anyway, so yes, I promise you, I've been there. I know what it feels like. I know it's hard. You got to make that hard decision. All right, fix it number one again. Right, raise those strategic prices. Fix that sales process. Start working on it. Get to know your numbers. Stop making emotional decisions with nothing to back it. And number 4, get rid of that dude or dudette. So I got a quick story. Another one. I got another guy who I coached for a long time and is now one of my best friends. He's probably going to listen to this podcast. Um, he had his number, like his. I wouldn't call this person a general manager, but someone helping him run the company who helped him start. Pretty much, he hired her soon after when he started scaling, and that person was there for a while. I just blew it. It was a she. He hired her, and this woman. I actually coached this person for a while, and then started to recognize, bad apple. So did my client, and finally, I had to make that hard decision to coach him into letting her go. It took him a year. A year. That's how much he was invested in her and wanted to change her, kept changing her duties, just kept doing it. And finally, when he did it, he was so relieved, and he had half of the company say thank you to him too. So I promise you, it's hard, but you got to do it, and it will make your business better because you got to go forward, not down. Don't go down, go up. All right, fix it. Number 5. This is something I didn't learn until 2019, after being in business for 20 years, a little more than 20 years. Get in the room with better operators. One of the things I do when I talk to people is like, are you part of your niche associations? Who do you know in your same niche that's bigger than you? Who is the number one guy in your niche? Do you know them? Are you networking with them? Do you know this person? What can you learn for free from people in your association or in your niche? And so, I mean, employees cannot carry this weight. Friends don't know your business. Who are you hanging around in business that is upping your game? A lot of people, you're alone, man. You're sitting there, like HVAC companies, plumbers, they don't know each other a lot. It's such a shit niche to where they're so cutthroat and they're always stealing each other's employees. It's terrible. Now, the bigger companies and good companies, I guarantee you some of these bigger companies in plumbing and HVAC, they're friends with the other big guys. I know they are. Matter of fact, I know they are. I'm not going to name them. But I know for a fact that like one of the largest plumbing companies in the world or in the United States is friends with the second. I know for a fact they are. And they had no association but to become friends. They say they have no financial thing together, and they did. And I guarantee it fueled a little competition, but also fueled what are you doing and what am I doing? And they learned, and they pretty much side by side grew 2 monster companies. I don't care if you're a landscaper listening, you're a pool guy. I don't care if you're a handyman. I don't care. You need to find who are the big companies, not just locally, nationally. Who can you learn from? I mean, literally in your niche. I mean, and I'm not just talking about, and this isn't a pitch to hire a coach. This is like where you need to go to grow. I mean, it needs to be. You can do local, you can do national. Like I'm going to the NCSG national convention in a couple weeks for the chimney industry. I have a booth, but I also, like I said, I did not know anyone in the industry. Everybody knew me being one of the largest chimney companies in the country. On the top, one percenters, and but I didn't know anybody. It's when I started to meet everybody and came out as a business coach in 2019. I started meeting everybody, and I fast became friends with the five largest chimney companies in the country, in the world, really. And I actually own a business with one of them. Mark Stoner, who owns Ashbusters. I mean, and then the other four or five. I'm good friends with Anthony Valerio, who owns Four Winds Chimney, who's probably now, honestly, the largest chimney company in the world. Which 6 years ago he was, you know, $3 or $4 million. That's a guy you want to know, right? And so these are the kind of things that you want to do. Now, of course, you know, you in your head have a hard time possibly because you've never done this. So you got to break the ice and start getting into these Facebook groups that have these people in. Join the associations, go to the national convention, I mean, the old thing, rubbing shoulders with people or rubbing elbows. That is something to your business. I find it funny how a lot of smaller businesses don't go to the big associations because they're like, well, it's the good old boy club with all them. That's because you're not in it. You're not rubbing elbows. They don't care how big you are. They just want to rub elbows too. And you'll find human beings want to help each other. That is something people miss out as a business owner. Business owners want to help other business owners. Literally. Literally. I guarantee if someone called you and asked for help, what would you do? Another business owner, what would you do? If you're a ding dong and would refuse them and be an asshole, okay, well then stop listening to my podcast. If you're a guy or girl that would say, how can I help you? I'd love to get to know you. What can we do here? Keep listening because that's what's going to grow your business. Kindness. Get to rub elbows with people who will want to help you. And I'm not talking paid, I'm talking free. Get in those rooms. Get in those little free masterminds that niches have. I'm not even talking about the paid stuff. I'm literally talking about how to start rubbing elbows with other people. These are the 5 fixes you need to do. These are the fastest 5 things that'll help any business immediately. Immediately start doing these 5 things. So what are we going to do? I'm going to start again. Remember here, you're going to raise those strategic prices. You're going to work on that sales process. You're going to start getting to know your numbers. So no more emotional decisions, calculated decisions. You're going to get rid of that cancer handcuffed employee, that handcuffing you employee. And then you're going to get in the rooms that you need to be in. So why do these changes work so fast? Huh? Well, higher prices, better clients, better team morale immediately. Better process, higher closing rate, less lead stress. What if you take this, the clients you already have that you're selling new ones that, you're going to go to, let's say you schedule 15 appointments a week. Right now you're charging, I'm just going to use easy numbers. Right now, let's say you're doing $10,000 a week in sales. Well, raise your prices, do the same 10 every week. You're getting 15 new estimates. All of a sudden you raise your prices and now you're doing $15,000. The funny thing is, you start working with me, you're probably doing 18 to 20. And I've got proof just in the last 3 or 4 months of new people who come work with me who have literally doubled their business in 3 months. So, I mean, that's how, but you got to know how to do it too. So that's where it comes, you got to have that process, to know the numbers, less anxiety and better leadership. That is what's going to make that process to lower your price or higher prices better. And that's, you're going to have that whole thing going on there. So, knowing clear the numbers, less anxiety, better leadership is so important, so that you make the good decisions. And, next thing is firing that toxic employee. Immediate energy shift in the business. Immediate. And then peer exposure, faster pattern recognition. You're going to have other people helping you. You don't even realize. Hope. That's the word. Hope. You don't have it right now, maybe. Well, why don't you get some? Those are the 5 fixes that you need to do. So the hard truth here is most of you won't do this. Why? You're comforted with the chaos, fear of exposure, your pride, your ego. You'll figure it out yourself. That's it, man. That's how you're going to feel. Really? That's where you want to be? I don't want to be like that. I don't want chaos. I don't want any fear. I'm not too prideful to do anything. And my ego is at check. I have one, but it's checked. And I don't figure stuff out myself anymore. I always figure it out with help. Always. Or if I start something and it fails, then I go find someone else to help me figure it out. And I don't mean paid. It doesn't I have paid stuff too for stuff and coaches and stuff and consultants, and I have been in rooms where I've been in mastermind groups, part of that where I paid, but I'm just saying you got to have the hard truth, man. These whys, most of you just won't do this. You're listening to me and you're like, "Yeah, I'll do it tomorrow." That's not going to work, dude. It's not going to work, dude. Close without selling. Say something like, this is literally what you're going to be like. You don't need me, but you need perspective. And if you can't get perspective alone, you need proximity. That is exactly what it comes down to. Is if you want help to do any of this, no pressure, you can give me a call. I just gave you the steps, though, to get calm, to sleep better, everything for you to do this on your own. But I will tell you, I can help you faster. All right? Just in the thing you can give me. But really, you can start all this immediately. And if you need help, you call me. By the way, first call is free. Then I'm going to sign you up, and then we're going to get to work. We're going to get to work on your business. I'm going to flip your anxiety around immediately. You'll have no anxiety within the first 2 to 3 weeks. It'll be gone. Why? Because you're going to have action steps that'll work, that are going to make you more money now, immediately, now. So I know what I'm doing. That's why you're listening, I hope. I wanted to really get after here to help people out, because this is literally what I deal with when I'm signing up new clients all the time. There's nothing special. This is what I want you to understand. The last thing I'm going to say about this podcast is you're not unique. Everybody goes through this. Everybody that comes to me. And by the way, people that don't come to me, they're sitting here. I just signed up a client a couple weeks back who had spent a year and a half contemplating on work with me. And all it did the year and a half, and he'll say it. And I'm sure, Paul, you're going to listen. I just said your name. Didn't say his last name. He wished he'd hired me earlier. I guarantee it. But here we are. It's just, the fact is, intentional steps and how to do it now. Let's kill the anxiety. Let's build your leadership. Let's get your prices right. Let's get your sales guys selling with a good sales process. Let's get rid of the handcuffs, get rid of that person, and let's literally get you in other rooms right now, not just with me, to start rubbing elbows with the people that will help you and get you there as well. It takes a village, right? Let's build that village together. So this is Chad Murray with Stop Working Broke. If you want to make an appointment with me, in the notes somewhere of this podcast, you will see a link that will come up with a free assessment where we will just chit chat, and then I will put you on a path right away to all 5 of these steps. And then if you feel like you want to work with me, great, then we'll move on from there. But guys, that's my podcast today. I enjoyed this podcast because there's a lot of stuff that I've been doing, and I really hope that this settles with you and really, really gets you thinking to really start moving. And God bless you. Take care. See you next week.